Welcome to IHIP News. I would like to discuss the Democratic Party today, which they make it more and more difficult to support them. And there was recently a jockeying, a little bit of a campaign for AOC to lead a committee or a 70-something-year-old with cancer. The Democrats voted for the establishment. And I just think, why are you guys not learning? All of these elections worldwide have been very anti-establishment. And so I want to read to you some reporting from independent journalist Ken Klippenstein. And he says, Connolly will join fellow septuagenarians in top committee spots next year. Richard Neal, 75 years old, will lead the Democrats on Ways and Means, while Frank Pallone, 73 years old, will be the party's top representative on Energy and Commerce. 86-year-old Maxine Waters will be the ranking member on the Financial Services Committee, and Rose DeLauro, 81, will helm the Democrats' presence in appropriations. And so the average life expectancy of an American is 77 years. To me, this is so maddening, and this is such an insult. And this is why the Democrats just lost, because it's establishment. They had to trot out Liz Cheney, and we were winning. Kamala was winning when she was being progressive and calling MAGA weirdos. And then they trot out Liz Cheney. And here's my fundamental problem with Liz Cheney. And I'm so sick of the Democrats going, oh, look at our hero. Look at her. She is a Captain Obvious. Why are we so proud of somebody for seeing what we all saw and doing the right thing about it? Why are we giving her so many brownie points for saying he's corrupt, he's a criminal, he was clearly behind January 6th, he should be nowhere near the Oval? That is a normal response to what we all saw. Liz Cheney is 1,000,000% a part of MAGA Republicans. She voted with Trump over 90% of the time. She perpetuates these right-wing Bible thumper lies that abortion happens after birth, that babies are executed. She's on tape saying that. So when you have a candidate who was surging, who had a wonderful convention, then start trotting out with Liz Cheney, I thought that was the fatal error that Kamala made. And they should have let Kamala be the progressive that she is. Having all these, late 70, early 80-year-olds run the Democratic Party when we have AOC, Maxwell Frost, Jasmine Crockett, and if there's some racists in the Democratic Party, which I'm sure they are, let's throw in a couple Caucasians. Eric Swalwell, get all the asshole Democrats that are not afraid to stand up to MAGA, get them out, give them the gavel, go hard in the paint against MAGA. This establishment stuff is going to kill us in the midterms. I think it is such a dangerous precedent, and I don't think the Democrats are reading the room with this, that we have to be center, because there's always this deference that people have, this bullshit deference to capitalism, to people of faith, and to status quo. And Donald Trump, if he's taught us one thing, is that people like politicians that buck the system. He's a nut and all of the things. I'm not saying he's not all of those things, but they liked that he came out and said Lion Ted, Lil Marco, and that he just is unfiltered and says all of this stuff, because we are in a post-status quo political world.
What's interesting to me about this is the first lesson we got was RBG. She should have resigned under Obama, and she didn't. And now we have a right-wing Supreme Court that has stripped away so many fundamental freedoms. And then you have this, Biden didn't immediately resign and say, I'm just going to be a one-term president, have a robust primary. I'm going to support whoever the Democrats choose. And now I'm with you. Why are we not learning these lessons? Why have we not figured out that fuck you politics is now on the menu and integrity politics has been swallowed up? Because apparently the American people are not interested in integrity. And putting people on these committees above someone like AOC, who is dynamic, she is an excellent communicator, and she is relatable to such a large swath of the American public. it just makes me think, do they want to lose? Is that what they're going for? They don't want to win. They want to continue down this road of integrity politics that has passed them by. And I did read one report that Nancy Pelosi was in on all of the AOC stuff not being elected. And here's my thing. I have the utmost respect for Nancy Pelosi. I think she is a fabulous politician. But this was a miss. AOC should be leading the committee because she is not afraid to stand up to these people. And it's just a huge missed opportunity that's probably going to bite us in the ass again.
It's time for a change. And you have all of these young, energetic, progressive voices. And if we could take that populist message right now, there is a huge opportunity for Democrats to brand the Republican Party for exactly what it is. Trump has shown us since 2016 that all the religious stuff is total hypocrisy, that every faith voter is full of shit when they went and voted for a criminal, a adjudicated rapist, and a man that cheats on his wife, screws porn stars and Playboy bunnies and all this stuff. So we know all of those megachurch voters. I'm a faith voter. I'm a faith and freedom voter. We know they are full of shit and total hypocrites. We also know that Trump does not give a shit about the military, as evidenced by they want to shut down the federal government, which takes away money from military members at Christmas. It also costs a lot of money to shut the government down and to reopen it. But most importantly, there is a huge anti-corporation sentiment out there across both sides of the aisle with the American public. And so when you have Nancy Pelosi, who has historically been beholden to these corporations, and you see the reaction of the Luigi Mangione on both sides, on the left and the right, say, yeah, the health insurance industry is bananas. They screw us over. We're sick of it. We've had it. There is an opportunity to get young, energetic voices in the Democratic Party. But instead, we've got the assisted living center rollout. Are you kidding me? And I want to say something that you said about Joe Biden. Joe Biden was a consequential president. Mm-hmm. He has had a great career. It was total bullshit that 2 years into his term, he didn't say, I am not going to run for a second term. I'm not a spring chicken. And, you know, I'm going to endorse Kamala because that was what he felt he needed to do. But that doesn't mean that I don't want a primary and I want the American people to pick. He screwed us on that. And the hubris that he had and that all of the people around him had. And I have a feeling that the people that said, hey, Kamala, go run around with Liz Cheney are also the same people in the Democratic brain trust that said, oh, no, you can run again. I knew, like in 2022, he cannot run again. But people in the Beltway get so detached from what's happening in the real world, as evidenced by the Democratic Party leadership. And it makes me crazy. All of this is making me further left.
Right. Well, what's interesting about that is we had AOC on the podcast, well, like within the last year, but early on in 2023. And she said the Beltway had no backup plan in terms of Biden. And then we saw what happened in July of this year. And it's continuing to happen. And I think the thing that you said that resonates with me the most is we're not learning. We're not understanding the dynamics. And maybe it is because we're too beholden to corporations. I mean, every politician is too beholden to corporations because they give the big money. And we saw in the last presidential election and in different Senate races how much corporate money has gone into these elections. So it is something that I don't understand. And is it going to take the disaster that we have coming with Donald Trump and losing 2027 for us to understand what is going on with the American people, that we don't like the establishment? Because here's the thing, people would rather vote for a nutball than somebody that's in the establishment. But apparently we're ignoring that, going with integrity.
I think there's something even more insidious at play. I think that it is appeasement to an authoritarian form of government. You can't, on the one hand, as a party, say this is an existential threat to democracy and then not fight it with everything in you. Joe Biden should have said, it's so important that he lose in a huge electoral mandate. I want you to have the most competitive primary imaginable. We have got to go. Trump's been campaigning for 4 years. We have got to campaign. It's total appeasement. You can't, on the one hand, say this is dangerous. It is dangerous. It's wildly dangerous. Look at how unhinged this man is. For God's sakes, he's a convicted felon that's incompetent, that talks about Hannibal Lecter. And on the same time, welcome to the White House. Welcome back. And I think there is an appeasement from corporate media, from corporations. You have all these CEOs going to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. And I think the worst, the most betrayal I feel right now is from the Democratic Party, because they should know better, and they should put these young progressive voices that haven't been tainted and corrupted by DC yet, put them in positions of power. Let them go on a perma campaign and go to red states and teach these red state people that live around us, look at what MAGA policies do for you. You're ranked 49th, Oklahoma, and you have a Republican supermajority. It sucks. Your economy sucks. Your road sucks. Your governor's a weirdo, and on and on. But they don't do it. We have Maxine Waters that's 80-something years old. Give me a break, Democrats. I have had it. It is pathetic. They need to go left. They need to put young faces, progressive faces out there, and we have them. They're elected. They're out there. We've hosted them on this podcast before. Get every asshole, progressive, fuck you, Democratic politician, put them at the top of the list, send them out on a little tour.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is all we heard about this last year is how deep the Democratic bench was, how deep they were in excellent candidates. And I believe that. I think that's true. Let them have their time. You don't have to be 85 years old to be the face of the Democratic Party. Let's go younger. Let's go dynamic. Let's hit Trump exactly where he hits us. Let's hit back. I completely agree. The Democrats are disappointing right now.
Very, very disappointing. And whoever in the Democratic Party thought it was a good idea for Joe Biden to run again, and thought it was a good idea for Kamala Harris to trot around with her trophy conservative friend Liz Cheney, should be fired and exiled and sent off to the never land, because you live in the Beltway. You have no idea what goes on in the United States. We live in a red state. I'm telling you, this populist economic message, this anti-corporation message, you can win here. You can use people's faith to your benefit, Democrats, but they don't do it.
No.
They do not do it. They defer. And so I think that we need leadership change massively in the Democratic Party, or they're going to start losing people that are members of it. My husband wants to change to independent. He's so mad at the Democrats.
Well, they can't seem to figure out that they have to be on the offensive instead of constantly on the defense.
Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
It's so